Actually, one email that I want to read that I just want to kind of hang over our discussion as we turn to the Republicans is from Donna here in Washington. What can we expect from Congress if either candidate is elected? More gridlock for 4 more years. I mean, one of the things that's so daunting and disappointing about this campaign is that I just can't see anybody coming out of this race in a particularly strong position to govern. Which is disappointing. And you see this, Ed, when you see the Republicans. Here's Paul Ryan out on the road, moving forward with his own agenda, trying to muscle a GOP agenda down the throat of his nominee, Donald Trump. That is not a picture of party unity among Republicans.
You have to sympathize with the sort of rock and a hard place that Paul Ryan is caught between, because, he doesn't want to be seen to blame for a landslide defeat of Trump, and he doesn't want to be seen to undermine his chances of retaining majority control of the House. I think the glass half full scenario for a reasonable governing agenda is Hillary wins. She retakes the Senate. The House majority that Ryan has is cut down. Ryan sees a strong repudiation of Trump's version of republicanism and gets more leverage, even with the Freedom Caucus, to be his true transactional Jack Kemp self. And Hillary has her own transactional self. We get tax reform. We get infrastructure funding via tax reform. And we have a presidency beginning on low expectations, for which there is a lot to be said. That's the sort of rosy scenario. I don't think it's very likely, but it's plausible.
But you talk about sympathy for Speaker Ryan. Here's an email from Jeff. So Speaker Ryan grudgingly endorsed Donald Trump a week or so ago, and then about 3 days ago, Ryan essentially called him a racist. Well, that's not quite true. What he said is that his comments were clearly racist. Will this sort of having it both ways affect re-election hopes of Speaker Ryan's or others in the fall? I mean, this becomes a credibility question, does it not, for Ryan and for Republicans?
I mean, what's been extraordinary to watch is just the way to which Trump and his actions is sort of sullying the reputation and making life very, very uncomfortable and difficult for so many people in his party. For Paul Ryan, for Mitch McConnell. You had Mark Kirk, who's one of the most embattled senators, this one, he from Illinois, fighting for re-election. He went out and just outright disowned him. You're seeing this sort of all over, where even the people that have come out, maybe in some cases prematurely now when they look back at it, in his favor, wondering to what extent they are going to back him and how. And meanwhile, you have Paul Ryan trying to push forward on this Make America Better thing, and he did this poverty event in Anacostia, one of the less well-off areas of Washington across the river. And, it was the same day, and that was where he actually had to make the comments about that Trump's comments were a textbook example of racism, and he was surrounded by a bunch of African American members of that community. And talk about undermining your message. It's, he's swimming upstream against a torrent coming from a very disorganized campaign at the moment of Donald Trump. And at the moment, I'm wondering if we could ask Republicans, are you most afraid of the unpredictable comments that your nominee is making, or are you most afraid of the fact that he has, you referred to this earlier, Amy, no money in the bank to speak of, no campaign staff, no actual real organization in any of the states. He has about 70 people to his name on his campaign. Hillary Clinton has 730 people working for her.
You sometimes might, when people say delete that account, what Hillary response to Trump's tweet, and Elizabeth Warren's picked up on that, delete that account, seriously. That's almost the equivalent with Trump of saying close your campaign, because there isn't an infrastructure beyond his media strategy.
It's interesting. I mean, I think